So Vishwa is an online platform. It's for everyday change makers, social champions who have been serving decades to make a difference and to make our world a better place. It's a crowdfunding and a crowdsourcing platform. We connect people who would like to make a difference with those people who would like to donate, volunteer, or give away materials and that they are not using and would like to put it under circulation.
Roshni has given life to the noble thought, psychiatry at your doorstep. With this project, we are reaching the unreachable, the underprivileged. And in this noble journey, Vishwa has been with us. Thanks a lot to Vishwa, who has helped us to reach people and also to raise funds.
Vishwa Talks is an initiative by Vishwa.org. Vishwa Talks are a series of weekly webinars hosted every Saturday that are focused on gaining in-depth knowledge from the experts on a wide range of topics that are pertinent to the current context.
One of the best collaborations that I had in 2021 is with Vishwa Talks.
Vishwa Talks is a wonderful platform, both for the speakers and the listeners. They cover varied topics, right from mental health to the environment. And it's so informative and so enjoyable.
All these are very enriching, and I congratulate Vishwa organization for their endeavors, and I wish them all the best for many more sessions.
Hello everyone, good morning, namaskaram, and welcome everyone to today's Vishwa Talk. My name is Prerna, and I thank you for taking the time to join us today. For those of you who have attended a Vishwa Talk before, a warm welcome back. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, here is a little bit about us. Vishwa Talks is a space to expand the horizons of your mind. Every webinar, we call experts from different domains to discuss and examine opinions, issues, problems, and perspectives. Each webinar is an interactive session where we all walk away with more respect for each other and a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. Today on Vishwa Talks, we have our most loved speaker, Ms. Gayatri Uppalapati, who, if you have attended a previous Vishwa Talk session before, needs no introduction. She's an inspiration to all. To take us through a thoughtful journey of self-doubt to self-acceptance, who else better than Ms. Gayatri Uppalapati, someone who herself has vaulted back in her career after a gap. Her love for psychology started on the day she attended her first class in psychology. as part of her bachelor's degree program at Joseph College. It's the zeal to understand and explore herself that kept her hooked on the field. Attaining degrees in psychology was a breeze, and it was her passion that then amassing a near degree. Her love for the subject continues to motivate her to explore the opportunities related to the field where she can be of help to others. She has worked with ICFI Business School, District Rural Development Agency, Aditya Birla Retail Limited, and Hindustan Cola Beverage Private Limited as a behavioral trainer and psychologist. She's a certified Dale Carnier's trainer. She's currently working as a consultant counseling psychologist and trainer with 3 organizations based out of Hyderabad and 3 organizations pan-India. She looks at counseling training experience as an exchange of perspective and a continuous learning process, where learning is a two-way process. We are elated to have you, ma'am, on Vishwa Talks. Before we get started, I would like to inform our audience that our speaker will be taking questions from you after her main talk. So please leave your questions in the chat box right now so that it is not missed. And also let us know where are you joining us from. It will really help us to understand our audience better. Now, without further ado, if I may invite our speakers to please start today's Vishwa Talk. Ma'am, please. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Okay, yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gayatri. I think today we have, or I have planned the session on the journey between the self-doubt and self-acceptance. Why did I choose this topic? Most importantly, why? As a clinician, when I sit with a lot of clients, mostly, especially women, I don't say that men don't have their bouts of self-doubt, they do, but mostly women express their self-doubts during the sessions, and it's usually about how other people think about them, or how their parents think about them, spouses, children. So in across all roles, women have a lot of self-doubts, and they're usually trying to please other people because the other people's impression about them is very, very important to them. So I thought, why not take this up as a topic on Vishwa platform, because it might help a larger audience. So that's the exact reason why I took up this topic. Before I start or dive into the presentation for today, I would just tell you all that, the journey between self-doubt and self-acceptance is actually a journey. That is why I'm calling it a journey. There is no fixed place. You can't say that, I'm done with my self-doubts now. I've completely accepted myself. I'm absolutely confident about myself now. There are no bouts of self-doubt. There is never a place like that. All throughout your life, you would be having self-doubts. The key here is, how am I using those self-doubts to better myself, to work on myself, and to move forward without getting bogged down by what other people think about me. So we are going to see a gist of it. You can leave in the chat box if you want more series, on this topic. We'll come up with a series. So that's the introduction. Let's start with the presentation. Prerna, can I have the first slide? The next one, yeah. So as you all see on the screen, most of the times we are all constantly corrected, right? All throughout our life by different people from our life. How many of you actually agree with this slide that, yes, we were corrected, yes, we were told what is right, what is wrong, and then we corrected ourselves accordingly? So how many of you actually relate to it? You can leave your answers in your chat box. Am I audible to everybody? Am I loud and clear? Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. For others, I think, who are writing that they can't hear, just check your settings as well. Oh, most people are saying yes. For others, please check your settings as well. Thank you. So I asked a question here. I wanted you to leave the message in the chat box. Like, how many of you actually relate to this question that, yes, we were constantly corrected all throughout our life, be it parents, teachers, sometimes our own peer groups, sometimes it's the siblings. Yes, we are, right? So the first thing that we need to understand here is when we are constantly being corrected, we always have a doubt in our mind as to, should I go with what I think is right, or should I go with what the other person says is right, which is the right path. And the moment we start questioning ourselves like this, you're already on the path of self-doubt, and the indecision starts from there. If you actually ask yourself this question, when was it that I actually started taking bigger decisions? Like, what was the age group? If you ask me, I will say that until I chose my subject in college, I think that was the bigger choice. Thankfully, I had parents who supported my choice, because psychology way back then was a very scary thing to take up, because we didn't have a future then. But thankfully, as I moved on, the bigger decisions in life is marriage. After marriage, when you have your children, that's when the decision making process starts. Until then, we are almost told what is right, what is wrong, how we are supposed to behave, what should be our goal. So we are guided, right? So suddenly, when we are left independent after marriage, or after we make bigger career choices, that's when we make decisions. And that is why, if you actually see, most women after marriage, or after they take bigger choices like career, they have a lot of self doubts, and they constantly question themselves, like am I balancing between home and work? Am I balancing between children and the other homemaker duties? Am I doing it right? I'm constantly told that I'm not good enough, or made to feel that I'm not good enough, and the journey continues, right? Shall we move on to the next slide, please? Done. So if we actually look at the vicious cycle that self-doubt creates, self-doubt actually creates a sense of inadequacy. I constantly feel that I am not good enough. I constantly feel that I'm incomplete. I constantly feel that I'm insufficient. I need to come up with a better version of myself. So as a result, what happens is, there is that constant restlessness to improve myself, to work on myself, whatever be the trait. I'm constantly on the go. I need to be better. I need to be better. Now, there is a lot of emptiness which comes up from the sense of inadequacy. Like, at the core, when I tell myself constantly that I'm not good enough, because I'm told that I'm not good enough, we develop a sense of inadequacy, and we try to prove ourselves constantly. And this is where the struggle begins. So I'm not just I'm not just trying to prove myself to myself. I'm also trying to prove my self-worth to probably parents, to siblings, to friends, to peer group, to larger society. And that's where our journey begins. I would like to cite a case example here. As a clinician, it surprised me, because, I grow as a clinician, right? I learn a lot from my clients. And sometimes they change me as a person, because the kind of insights they give are beautiful. So once, I think when I was handling a 36-year-old client who heads an organization, she heads an organization for animal welfare. And she's really thriving in her career, but for whatever be the reasons, she couldn't conceive until she was 36. So she approached counseling because she was going through an infertility treatment. The cycles themselves, the IVF cycles themselves are very, very stressful for the clients, because they have to go through a lot of pain. It's not that easy. So she wanted to seek help. So that's how she reached out to me. And I was quite surprised to listen to her self-doubt narratives, because until then I was thinking that, she had a full-fledging career, flourishing career. So it would be easy for her prefer to handle at least some aspect of disturbances in the home front, just in case if there are any. But I was quite surprised to listen to her narrative. So she tells me during the session that, Gayatri, I really feel upset that people at home don't consider that I am a successful woman in the career. They only point out that I wasn't able to become a mother. I have gotten married late, or rather, because I have prioritized my career, I have gotten married at the age of 34, and hence the childbirth is now delayed. And they often hold me responsible for not being able to become a mother normally. So that was the first time I was actually taking up someone from reproductive health concern. So I was really, really surprised to listen to those narratives. I think that is where I started thinking about self-doubt being an underlying concept for all women across all ages. And beautiful insights that I have found as during this journey is, if I become mother early, that's a problem. If I become mother late or it is delayed, that's a problem. If I prioritize home and stay at home, they tell me that, you should have worked on your career. You should have more, become more independent. If I prioritize career over home and I try to become financially independent, they make me feel guilty that you're not giving enough time at home. So constantly there is that judgment spectacle through which every woman lives. Now, it doesn't really matter whether you're educated, uneducated, homemaker, career woman, mother, yet to be a mother. You're judged for whatever be the reason. And that little black dot we all have that black dot. If I have an entire white paper and I just have that one black dot on the white paper, I'm constantly being reminded of just that black dot, so obviously I would feel inadequate, right? So the first step for the women here, for the women and the men who are raising women or who are raising girl children, the first step is, please don't make our women feel inadequate. I think we need to have a sense of compassion. We need to have a sense of understanding. So if someone comes to you with a bout of self-doubt saying that, I've taken a break after becoming a mother, I'm unable to start my career, I don't think I'll get the same salary package as I got before, so should I go down, or should I accept the cut down in my salary? So if they, whatever be the self-doubt questions, listen to them and see if you can help them come to their own solution. All they need is listening. The moment you actually advise, or the moment you make them feel that the decision that they have taken is wrong, you lose the woman, and you're actually damaging the core. The first step is, don't make our women or girl children feel inadequate, because feeling adequate is actually a journey. None of us are adequate, and if someone tells that I'm adequate, I think that's a lie. I wouldn't be saying that as a psychologist myself. I'm inadequate myself. So how can I expect the other person to be perfect and adequate? So the moment somebody is opening up about their inadequacies, it's a vulnerable conversation. You have to be with the person. See if you can uplift their confidence and make them feel good about themselves rather than damaging their core. That's the first step. As we move on, as you see in the slide, when I constantly give myself or talk to myself that I am not good enough, I don't think I'm better than others are doing much well in their lives, I'm not thriving in my life. So when I constantly use these kind of narratives to talk to my own self, there are a lot of fears that we develop. Most people who undergo self-doubt for a longer period of times, they have a lot of fears which they find it very difficult to deal with or battle with. Now, what are these fears? A little insight into the fears. The fears are usually that of rejection, abandonment, and failure. I'm broadly categorizing based on the clientele that I have seen. This is purely coming in from my experience. There could be other fears also, but I'm just broadly categorizing based on my experience. So abandonment, rejection, and failure are the significant fears I see in women. So failure is mostly to do with, the academic or the career pursuits. Often I see that, young children, young girl children, by the time they touch their teens, like 13, 14, I usually see a dip in their confidence between when compared to like the boy children. There is usually a dip in their confidence, and the research also supports the same thing. Like whatever I have experienced, research also supports the same thing, that the girls who, when they enter their teenage, they experience a dip in their confidence, and this is usually because of the way they look. Most girl children have body image issues, because that's when there are a lot of hormonal changes. So there are acne, the weight issues, not being able to look good all the time, and they're constantly like commented upon how they look and how they how they carry themselves. So most children, girl children, experience a dip in their confidence just because of their body image issues, right? Now usually these fears can lead to, like when I'm having body image issues, I might feel that I might be rejected in interpersonal relationships. I might feel that I'm not as good looking as my friends around, or probably I might not be commented, or I might not be complimented by members of the opposite sex about how I look. So there are a whole lot of fears of rejection there. Sometimes when the rejection fear kind of escalates over a period of time, they have a fear that they are being abandoned or excluded. They don't feel included. They feel that all the other friends are smart, I'm not. Or if it is a homemaker who's actually going through abandonment fear, the homemaker might tell herself that, probably others in the family are not including me, I'm somehow different from them. Or she might say that, other students or other classmates of hers who are working and she's at home, she might tell herself that, oh, they're all working and settled, I am still at home, so I don't think they would be interested in talking to me. So these are the narratives. This is how they talk to themselves, and they feel abandoned, they feel left out or excluded. The other bigger fear is the fear of failure. The fear of failure is usually in the academic and career pursuits, where they feel that, they're not doing as good as others. Like, I'm not as good a student as the other students or other classmates in my class or my friends, or I'm not doing as good as others in career. My career has taken a back seat while others are thriving. So constantly we will have fears, and some or the other fear will occupy our thoughts, and that's when we will start thinking excessively, right? And moving on, this is a link. I want you to understand the link here, because I would be spending significant time on this slide, because if we understand this slide, we have understood the journey between self-doubt and self-acceptance. So the self-doubt starts from a sense of inadequacy. We pick up significant fears in life, and shame and guilt. I think these need no explanation, right? These are intense emotions which most women go through, and men also. And we don't talk about them. And usually, why did I put shame and guilt here is, we use shame and guilt interchangeably. I've seen often that most clients use shame and guilt interchangeably. Like, I feel guilty about this. I feel guilty that, I'm not giving my son enough time. I feel guilty that, my career is taking up a larger chunk of my work. Or sometimes daughters who stay in a foreign land, and if they are not able to take care of their ailing parents, they feel extremely guilty, and they say that, Gayatri, we are here, my parents are doing all the routine checkups by themselves. I feel really, really so guilty that I am not able to take them up for the medical trips, and that they have to do it all by themselves. I feel ashamed of themselves. Now, this is how a client spoke. So they often use shame and guilt interchangeably. So I wanted to break the myth of using shame and guilt, because why breaking the myth? Why is it important? Because on the journey from self-doubt to self-acceptance, guys, it's very important as to how you talk to yourself. That's where it all starts. because someone might criticize me once or twice in a week, or probably once in a month, or twice in a month, or probably 2 to 3 hours in a day. But if I start talking to myself in the same language, if I put myself to shame, then it is 24/7 by 365, and the damage is higher, right? So I want you to understand, if you want to start your journey from self-doubt to self-acceptance, then the first step for you is watch out the way you're talking to yourself. Watch out how critical you're being to yourself. Watch out how much of a pressure you're putting on yourself to achieve goals that someone else has defined for you, right? Now, what is shame and what is guilt? If I have done something wrong, if supposing, say, my son was ill, I'm giving you my own example. My son was unwell, for about the last 2 weeks or something. So I had to leave him at home and do whatever is essential, leave him at home, and take up my responsibilities at work. So if I am telling myself that I need to be ashamed of myself as a mother because I'm not there with my son when he needs me the most, then I am putting myself through shame. If I'm telling myself that I have made arrangements at home, there are people to take care of him, I have done whatever I am supposed to do and whatever it is in my control, and I need to balance other things also, which is equally important, then I am actually using guilt, which means I know that I need to be there with him. I know that I have to cater to certain of his needs, but for whatever be the reasons, I'm unable to. So how can I accommodate my absence? How can I arrange things for him so that he is happy in his own world and I'm also happy balancing out the other things? Then I'm using guilt. I'll give you the difference. When I'm using the shame, I'm actually rejecting myself for whatever I am. If I'm just telling myself I need to be ashamed of myself as a mother, that's a huge statement, and imagine the damage. And what if someone else tells you, like, what if your spouse also tells you at that point of time that you should have stayed back home? Or what if your mother-in-law says that, you should be giving more attention to home at that point of time? Or what if your parents say that, you are prioritizing career, watch out. So naturally, what others do is they put us to shame. But when I am also internalizing it and I'm kind of rejecting myself, others are rejecting me, I'm carrying on the same rejection and talking to myself and rejecting myself as a being, as a person holistically, then I'm using shame, right? And shame is very, very, very damaging. More than others doing it to you, like I already said, 24/7 by 365, when you're doing it to yourself, it is even more damaging. Guilt, on the other hand, I'm not rejecting myself as a person, as a human being. I am only very specifically, listing down certain aspects of my life, which I am not okay with and I should be correcting. Got it? If you have any doubts between shame and guilt, I think I can stop here because it's important for us to understand this. So you can either say yes, no. Have you understood the slide is the question. Done. Done. Wow. Such an interactive audience. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I know this is my bout of self-doubt, So am I able to reach out to you because we are on a virtual platform? Like, when as a trainer, when I started these trainings online, because for me, I was a corporate trainer for the first 6 to 7 years of my life, and most of them were classroom trainings. So when you're actually taking up classroom trainings, how the audience, you know your audience well, like, whether they are understanding, when they are yawning, when they are like, disinterested. So you're in line with them because you get to see them. But on the virtual platforms, when I have started, I think I had a a huge challenge and my own bouts of self-doubt, because I'm speaking into the camera, or that little circle on your laptop, that is even more difficult, as though you're talking to someone else. So that's the I there. And then you don't know whether your audience is in tune with you or not. That is actually a bigger challenge. So thank you so much. So I'm actually giving you examples from my own life, because we all have bouts of self-doubt. So it is okay to have self-doubts, and we have it across all phases of our life. So I am giving examples from my own life, so that you understand that in spite of being psychologist who's supposed to be like good with all of this, that's a myth. I do have my own self-doubt. So it's quite normal for everybody to have their bouts of self-doubts. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, so we are talking about shame and guilt, right? So I have made it very clear that when we are internalizing the language of other people as to how we are talking to ourselves, supposing, say, my mother says that, if my mother tells me that, oh, you're not doing a good job as a student, you're not giving it enough time, you'll be really feeling sorry for the way you're performing in your exams. Now, she did it once. If I do it repeatedly to myself, then I am rejecting myself. That becomes shame. If I am saying that, she gave me a feedback, let me think about it. First, let me ask if I agree with it or not. If I agree with it, then I'll think about making corrections at my own pace, at my own comfort, in my own plan. If I am doing it, then I am using guilt. Now, guilt also has an helpful and unhelpful way. When we are going on and on about the mistake that we have done, like the example that I have cited, as a student, if I'm constantly telling myself that, oh, my mother told me that I'm not doing good as a student, or I need to study more, I need to plan myself. So if I'm constantly in my mind and I'm thinking again and again as to how I am a bad student, then it is inappropriate guilt, because I am only focused on the emotion. I'm only ruminating about what I am going through, how I can better myself, but I'm actually not bettering myself, right? There is no action there. So whenever guilt leads to a lot of thinking about your emotions or your thoughts or your behavior, it is inappropriate. Whenever guilt is leading to some kind of an action, some kind of a thought which is leading to an action, then it is appropriate. It is like, you need to show it a thumbs up, because you're working on yourself there. So it is always important to understand the action. I am upset with what someone has told about me, but how am I processing it? Am I able to tell myself that this is the feedback that they have given? Let me see how I can work on myself, and I am moving ahead according to a plan. It is appropriate guilt which is needed, because that is leading to a behavioral change. If I am only sitting at one place thinking about how people have been so hurtful, how they said things like this, how I'm not able to change myself, how I'm stuck at a place and unable to move ahead, then it is inappropriate, because it's not leading into action. So we need to understand what will bring in the action. This is the most important quote that is given here. I really like it. I use it as a self-affirmation also to my own self when I have low moods. All self-knowledge is purchased at the cost of guilt. So self-knowledge, which is the knowledge that we acquire about ourselves over a period of time. Self-knowledge is not like the money in your ATM, wherein I'm inserting and I'm taking all the money at a time. No, it has to be taken sip by sip. It's like a cup of coffee that you have in the morning. You want to have it sip by sip, right? You want to taste the hotness of it, the flavor, the how it feels in your mouth. You want to go sip by sip, right? Rather than taking it all at once. So self-knowledge also has to be enjoyed and has to be taken sip by sip. And there is an entire lifetime for you to understand yourself and to work on yourself. So all self-knowledge needs some amount of guilt, because only when there is guilt, about the way we have acted or the way we have performed or the way we have presented ourselves in a role, which is to your mother, spouse, children. Only when the guilt is there, the change comes. When we don't feel guilty about whatever we have done, then the change comes. So the good news for all the women is, if you're feeling guilty that you're not being a good mother, or if you're feeling guilty that you're not being a good daughter or a daughter-in-law, that means you're on the right track. You're thinking about how can I make myself better in that role. So it's just about leading yourself to an action which suits you, because I got to balance between self and others as well, right? Can we move on? Okay. I think before I take up the slide, I want you guys to do a small activity, which I also would be doing along with you. If you want to turn on your videos, it would be more fun because we would be enjoying ourselves. I want you to have a pen and a paper. If it is handy, you can do it immediately. If it is not handy, I can give you a few minutes so that you can get yourself one, or you can do it in mind as well. Can I start? Okay, I'm starting, all right? Yeah, we'll start. Yes, Arpita, we are starting. Okay, I want you to make 4 quadrants on your page like this, if this is visible. Like, draw plus sign. Yeah, it is visible now. Draw plus sign on your sheet, the plus sign, and make 4 quadrants, which is like divide your page into 4 halves. Draw one vertical line and then a horizontal line. Your page becomes 4 halves, right? Once you're done, let me know in the chat box you're done. I need your inputs, because I said virtual platform. I don't know if you really made it or not. Okay, done. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, such an interactive audience. You guys are motivating me to do better. Thank you. So we will start. Now, the first thing that you need to do is, in the first quadrant, we have 4 quadrants, right? 4 sections of the page. So I'm calling them as quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So in the first segment of the page, you need to draw a house with the hand which is dominant. Like if you are a left-hander, put your pen in left hand and draw the house. If you're a right-hander, dominant hand is right hand, put your pen in the right hand and draw a house. I'm also doing along with you. If it is done, I think you guys can give me a yes. I am done. Wonderful. Wonderful. So we will move on to the next segment, which is the second quadrant. Now you will have to shift your pen. So my dominant hand is right hand. So I'm now shifting my pen into my left hand. Okay. And now in the second quadrant, I have to draw a tree using my left hand. Be honest, okay? Draw a tree with your non-dominant hand. And once you're done, just send me the dones in the chat. I am done. All right, thank you. So again, your pen is back into your dominant hand, which is the right hand. And now the place to draw is quadrant 3. And here, I will have to draw a person. Again, a person. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you. Done too. Very good. You're with me. Done, done, done. All right. Okay. Now the funniest part, the last quadrant, which is left. Now again, shift your pen into your non-dominant hand. Mine is left, so I'm shifting it into left. Now you will have to close your eyes. Close your eyes with your pen in the non-dominant hand. In the last quadrant, you will have to draw a cat. You will have to draw a cat. Eyes closed, guys, and pen in your non-dominant hand. I'm done. Wow, beautiful. Now I have an interesting question. Okay, we finished the activity, but you guys have to tell me, like, which character did you like drawing the most? The house, the tree, the person, or the cat? Someone says house. Arpita says house. Good. House, cat, tree. Thank you, Sapna, for turning on your video. So what did you enjoy the most? House, tree, cat. Wow. So mixed responses, I'll tell you. Okay, tree. All right. I'll tell you why I've asked this question. Okay, Sapna also enjoyed cat. Yes, yes. I always enjoy cat, irrespective of how many times I do this activity. I'll tell you why. Now, can you all just turn on your video and show me the pictures if you're interested? I'm starting with mine. If it is visible, not very clearly visible, right?
And you can unblur your screen, then it will be.
Is this visible? Yeah, it's visible now. Okay. So whoever wants to show it can show it. Why did I make you do this activity? Oh wow, thank you so much. So beautiful. Thank you so much for enjoying the activity also and doing it so diligently. Thank you. Okay, why did I give you this activity is when we are constantly corrected all the time, the journey begins there. Yes, others do it, but when we start doing it to ourselves, when we start correcting ourselves, we get a fear of, or we develop a fear of making mistakes. You know, we become extremely scared of making mistakes. We become extremely scared of standing different from others. We become extremely scared of trying something new. Right? If you actually see the activity that I have given you today, if you see, I know if we turn on our videos and if we can see our pictures very visibly, all our houses will be most alike. You know, they'll all look alike. The perfect straight lines, the windows, the doors, the upper segment, most houses would look alike because we were taught like that, right? And the moment we draw a tree with the left hand, because I have never tried with my left hand, right hand is my dominant hand. I've never tried with my left hand. So instantly I would be like, you know, oh my God, it is with left hand. Can I do it? Right? And the worst part is, as we move on, when we did the cat, wherein we closed eyes and did it with a non-dominant hand, that is even more scary. Like as it is cat, which is, at least for me, it is difficult to do with an open eye, with right hand. You know, many times when I try to draw a cat, it might become a rat, horse, anything. So now with a closed eye, with non-dominant hand, I'm supposed to draw a cat. Instantly it would be like, you know, can I do it? Will I be able to do it? And then the fun comes. You know why? Because we don't have the pressure when we are doing the cat, because we all know that it is not just me who's going to falter. Everybody else also will falter, because cat actually is a difficult thing to draw. And then with a left hand or a non-dominant hand and with your eyes closed, So naturally, everybody also will have that pressure. It's not just me. So the moment we realize that, we'll start having fun. So if you actually see responses, most people said they enjoyed cat. So that means they were under pressure when they did the house, tree, person, because they wanted to be perfect, right? That is how subtly self-doubt works on us. We will not even realize the pressure. We will not even know that it is our own doubts which is creating pressure for us. And it affects our performance, or it affects our productivity. Why did I do this activity just when I am taking up the slide? We have two kinds of people. The one is thinker, the other is doer. We need both. I can't say that you'll have to be a doer all the time, you'll have to be a thinker all the time, because we need to have a right combination of both the roles. If I am overthinking, if thinking can look so classy as that person is doing there, okay, I was happy and enjoyed house because I was confident and it looked perfect. See, that's the pressure. It is perfect, and I know that it would be perfect because there is a repeated practice with house. All right, now coming back to the slide, I wish thinking can be so stylish, yeah, the way the person is doing, but it is actually not that stylish. When I'm thinking so much about similar kind of experiences, what I have gone through, what other people have gone through, when I'm repeatedly thinking about a lot of things, it is not as cool as it appears to be. It actually kills us from within, and I will not be able to take action. So excessive thinking paralyzes your action. So the next step for the journey from self-doubt to self-acceptance is break your thinking, infuse action. The action can be as small as possible. Supposing I, as a student, I'm scared of math, right? The first thing that I need to tell myself is, I haven't learned math yet, but nothing stops me from practicing. If I tell myself that and I start practicing math a little extra every day, probably another 1 hour or another half an hour every day, a little extra than what I usually give my math, it is action. And action gives you confidence, guys. Thinking doesn't give you confidence. Thinking gives you a lot of self-doubt. It is action which gives you confidence. So when I start thinking and when I break my thinking with action, however minute and small that is, it leads to a lot of confidence, and it also gives you a feedback. So it tells me that, Gayatri, giving half an hour extra time for your math is not sufficient. Somehow you will need support. Then I'll start looking for support. Who else can help me? Parents, teachers, tuitions, online some stuff which can help me. So I'll start looking for help. That is extra more action. That again gives me feedback, and the confidence builds. So the first for the tip for self-doubt to self-acceptance is break your thought with an action. It is important to be a doer. You can be a doer for a larger chunk of your life. A larger portion of your life, you can be a doer. A limited portion of thinking is enough, because eventually what is important is the knowledge that I have, the knowledge that I kind of accumulate should be used for my own body and my own mind first. Helping others comes much later. But the knowledge that I accumulate over a period of time should be used for my own good, whether it is my mind or body. So whenever you are having bouts of self-doubt, constantly do this activity, the activity which I made you do just now, the cat, house, tree, and person, and then tell yourself, how open are you to make mistakes? Did I enjoy the cat? Did I enjoy the house as equally as I enjoyed the cat? If I am not, then I am under pressure. So I'm trying to please someone, or I'm trying to prove myself to someone. So then ask yourself that I got to balance between the thinking and the doing. So I don't have to please anybody. I have to please myself first, because if I lose myself, finding yourself is difficult, guys. Finding others is not going to be that difficult. Even if you lose your friends in the process of finding yourself, it's okay. Eventually they come back. When you work on yourself and you become an inspiration yourself, they will come back. People will reach out to you. They will start opening up about their own vulnerabilities and conversations. But when you lose yourself, the process is going to be difficult. So always it is a thin balance, between the thinker role and the doer role, the self-love and prioritizing others. It's a very thin line. So the balance is important. So sometimes if you're prioritizing others, it's okay. But am I trying to invest in my account also? Am I trying to balance myself as well? So that is something that you need to think about. Am I thinking way too much than it is needed? Am I doing some action? So gauge your action more than gauging your thinking. Gauge your action, and it is action which breaks your self-doubt chains. All right. So let's move on. We'll move on. Yeah, one more time. Done. All right. So while transitioning from self-doubt to self-acceptance, it's very important that we understand to set goals for ourselves. And these are three different kind of people whom we usually find. These are people who make it happen. These are the doers with a little bit of thinking. Those who let it happen, that means they'll observe and see what others are doing and constantly thinking. So these are the thinkers. And then those who wonder what happened. So these are neither thinkers nor doers. Okay. So it is always important that the minimum amount of thinking that you have had in your mind to change yourself needs a quick action. And it is action which builds your confidence, and it is your confidence which encourages you to break your self-doubt and move ahead in life. Can we just move on? Okay, I want you to listen to this. Can we play this?
Mirror, mirror, I feel I will never be enough by myself and for myself. The journey from I'm not enough to I am enough needs more actions. Act now.
So it's the reel is actually re-emphasizing what I have already said. You need to act now. There is no tomorrow for action. It is this moment. It is in this moment I need to act. So if I want to work on myself, if I want to work on my self-doubts, this is the moment, guys. And if this workshop or if this webinar can help you take this message across, that no matter how minute my action is, I just want to start. If you can just say that, I think we have achieved our purpose of doing this webinar. Can we just move on? Am I not audible? Am I not audible, Prerna? I can hear. All right. Okay. Thank you. I'll move on. So when I'm saying act now, where should I start? What better than I am? This activity or this sheet, I have come up with this sheet after I have seen multiple clients think a lot before giving away their strengths. When I ask them as a clinician, like, what are your strengths and weaknesses, or what are your strengths and areas of development, they'll give me a huge list of areas of development, that I'm bad here, I'm bad there, I'm lazy, I'm not punctual, I'm not disciplined. So if you ask them the list of areas of development, they'll give a huge list. But when I ask them for their strengths, they come up with a very small list, right? So what I want you to understand is, this sheet is very important. This is the how for another how for breaking your self-doubt and moving towards self-acceptance. What you need to understand is, write I am at the center, and write the qualities that you really, really take pride about yourself. So I have given my qualities here. So I think I'm very confident, loving, kind, smart, brave, creative, fun. There are a whole lot of them. So you need to start with qualities that you like in yourself, So the journey towards self-acceptance starts from giving myself positives. So it's okay if the world is not giving me the positives, but it needs to start from me. So let me give the positives to myself. What I'm expecting from the world, let me give it to myself. So start giving yourself the adjectives that best describe you, and you can keep changing it every day. Like this can be your morning routine, because I do it, because I think over the last 2 years I've been going through so much of pain, whatever be the reasons on the personal front or whatever. So this really worked for me. I get up in the morning, I pick up my journal, and I start with this, and it changes every day. I give new adjectives, and it is beautiful to know that I have so many adjectives to describe about myself. So start with this worked with a lot of clients as well. Can we move on? Okay, we're coming towards the closure of the session. This is again a self-affirmation which you guys need to use. Please repeatedly keep watching this session. One time is not sufficient, because every time you see it, you will have new inputs. So this would be put up on our respective pages of Vishwa. So please watch it again and again. So instead of focusing on perfection, I'm focusing on learning. So instead of being perfect, I'm telling myself, I'm learning, so whatever it is, whatever be the outcome, that's fine. I'm learning and I'm changing myself. Instead of pleasing others, I am loving myself. So am I giving others a way too much of importance, right? This is where the thinker and the doer comes. Think about it. Am I giving others a lot of power over me, wherein I'm expecting that, they give me that little tick mark. Yes, you're a good counselor. Yes, you are a good mother. Yes, you look beautiful. So am I looking for that little tick mark against my traits? Then it is external validation. If I am validating myself, yes, I made preparation for this webinar. I know that it would go well, tick mark. I did put in my hard work to understand my clients, so I would be a good counselor, tick mark. I've done my background preparation for today's meals, so I know they will come out well, tick mark. I have gotten, I woke up early in the morning today to accommodate a lot of things today. So I will be in time and I will be able to finish my things, tick mark. So the journey from self-doubt to self-acceptance becomes easier if you are validating yourself than looking for others to validate you. It will eventually come, beautifully it will come. When you start validating yourself, the others also will start validating you more and more. So start putting that little tick mark across your traits, across your behavior, and you will start feeling wonderful. Can we have the next one? Okay, I'm going to close my session with this little poem here. If anyone wants to read out, you can read out, or unable to screen share, see screen share. Okay, then I will read it for you. This is a beautiful poem which says, if the mountain seems too big today, then climb a hill instead. If the mountain seems too big today, then climb a hill instead. If the morning brings you sadness, it's okay to stay in bed. If the day ahead weighs heavy and your plans feel like a curse, there is no shame in rearranging. Don't make yourself feel worse. If a shower stings like needles and a bath feels like you will drown, if you haven't washed your hair for days, don't throw away your crown. A day is not a lifetime. A rest is not a defeat. Don't think of it as a failure, just a quiet and kind retreat. Again, for all the women, a rest is not a defeat, guys. You deserve the rest. Don't think of it as failure, just a quiet, kind retreat. It's okay to take a moment from an anxious, fractured mind. The world will not stop turning while you get realigned. The mountain will still be there when you want to try again. You can climb in your own time. Just love yourself. So that's it. I'm done. Thank you so much. I think we will share the poem with you in the chat box if that's possible, because someone said it's a beautiful poem, and I constantly read this poem because of the kind of multitasking that I have. I feel that sometimes that it's just okay to rest and not do anything in a day. You don't have to gauge your productivity every day. Every day is not the same. So it's like if you're just relaxing and lazing around and watching movies, and sometimes you don't feel like cooking also, it's absolutely fine. You can just give I tell myself this, if I can just give my son curd rice that day, it's okay. because I'm presenting that curd rice in a beautiful way with a happy smile and a happy face, rather than laying out whole lot of dishes in front of him and then going with a grumpy face. So I would say, like, he would enjoy my happiness better. So tomorrow I can make him make his favorite dishes. For today I will give him the curd rice, and I'll also eat the curd rice along with it. So that's okay, that's fine. So that's how you got to, like, calm yourself down, understand yourself better. And guys, there is no other relationship as important as the relationship that you have with self. And especially as women, I think we kind of lose ourselves in several roles, and it becomes very difficult. This I'm saying as a person, as a woman myself. I don't want to bring in the psychology here, because we've come towards the end of session. I think I have lost myself in several roles. It's not because of others have put that pressure, because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be, the ideal daughter-in-law, the ideal daughter, the ideal mother. So there was a lot of idealism in my mind, and I kind of lost myself. I think it took me good 40 years to find myself. I'm 39 now, and I don't want to lose this self anymore, yeah, no matter what it is. So this is very dear to me, because this came after a lot of pain and reflection, right? So where there is no pain, there is no gain. So if you're going through pain, it means that you're going to reach to a point where you are going to gain a lot of things, which is you, which is the beautiful you. So just enjoy yourself. You are the beauty of the world, and you are the uniqueness.
That was a wonderful, wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you so, so much. I can see all the happy faces here. I can see a step forward towards this journey. So before we move to Q&A, I would now like to request the audience to take 30 seconds to answer a poll for us. The purpose of the poll is to help us understand you a little better, so we can better curate the topics. I would like to express my gratitude to everybody who has joined us today for their presence and interactive contribution to make this webinar a success. I extend my gratitude to our wonderful speaker, Gayatri ma'am, whom we love, for taking out time from her busy schedule to grace the event. Apart from the poll, I would also request you guys to put it on the chat box, anything you feel about the session. If you want any, if you have any suggestions that these kind of topics should be brought forward, if you think that we can reach out to more audience, if we can, there can be a workshop done for women in schools or colleges. If you have any suggestions like that, anything regards to mental health, please put down where you are joining us from. Let us make this a very interactive session. Okay. So we'll now be taking questions. If you have any questions to ask Gayatri ma'am, you can put it in the chat box, or you can use your virtual raise hand option, and we will ask you to question live from ma'am directly. So you can use both the options. If you have any question, if you do not want to come online and ask, you can put it in the chat box. We'll address all the questions. And if you want to use the raise hand option, please do that. Most of you are on the video, so we would love for you to ask the question directly from ma'am. Okay. So before we take the move towards the question answer round. For the ones who are joining us for the first time, I would like to talk a little bit about Vishwa and the vision that went behind creating this wonderful platform, and that has been running successfully, successfully from the last 1 year. So Vishwa is an online platform for everyday change makers and social champions. It's a crowdfunding and crowdsourcing platform that is aimed at helping anyone find support they need in their efforts to have dreams for themselves and for others, and in the process, make the world a better place. So in addition to the thought-provoking talks such as the one hosted today, we also want to extend the curiosity for exploration to our youth and young ones as well. We have launched 2 new segments of Vishwa Talks, namely Vishwa Talks Youth and Vishwa Talks Junior. to facilitate learning and important conversation in the bright minds of the new generation. Stay up to date when we launch our first Vishwa Talks youth and junior programs by subscribing to our emailers or checking up regularly on our website. So, like the name suggests, Vishwa Talks Junior is for schools and school students. Vishwa Talks Youth is for college and college students. It is both the verticals are live on our website www.vishwa.org. You can subscribe to Vishwa Talks through our website www.vishwa.org/Vishwa Talks, and you can let us know in the feedback or the comment section what you feel about. The main vision here is that we believe a one talk can make a difference in our lives. We all see it every Saturday. Imagine the difference it can bring in a young mind's life. A young mind can be shaped in a very tender age, and it can lead to a very purposeful life. Or for a youth, it can give a whole new shape towards their journey. It will lead all their energy that they are imparting towards a goal, towards a purposeful life. So, with all the dignified speakers, all the change makers of society like Ms. Gayatri and others who have been part of Vishwa Talks in the last more than 1 year now, we are launching Vishwa Talks Junior and Vishwa Talks Youth, which is going to help shape up a new wonderful generation of this country. Vishwa Materials is another initiative that we are proud to introduce. Imagine living in an economy where sharing is truly caring and where you didn't need, whether it be books, electronics, furniture, etc., could easily be listed and picked up by members of the community. The idea is that nothing goes to waste and there is something for everyone. It's a crowdsourcing platform for local communities to list and exchange items all for free. Why just for the people who need? If I need something, if I may need a new laptop, if I may need any branded clothes and someone is not using it, people are listing all these materials on vishwa.org website in the materials vertical section. I'll go and request for it. We'll share it. I'll be happy to list down the materials I have already listed down the materials which we are not using and it's in a very good condition to someone who can actually use it. We are here at Vishwa to end that stigma. Right now it's live in Hyderabad, or you can list down from your city as well, and someone in your city can request that material as well. Likewise, Vishwa welcomes champion of social change, a community of individuals like you and me right over here that want to make the world a better place. Join the Vishwa community and be a champion for change today. Okay. So there are multiple fundraisers on our website in various causes like mental health, art and culture, education where a girl needs funding to complete her education, a young child who lost her father and her mother is not able to bear her education charges. Her school is helping her with the school uniform and all, but they cannot bear the fees. We are raising the funds to make sure her education is supported, to make sure this young girl with the twinkling eyes is able to get an education for herself, complete her education. There are others where we are trying to build a toilet for the girl students. There's a school in the outskirts of Hyderabad where they do not have a toilet. The girls do not have the toilet for themselves. It's all broken, it's all open. And if they want to use a washroom, they go to their neighbors, the neighborhood houses near the school, and they use the washroom, which is very sad. We are raising funds to create one toilet for these young girls. At least something like a toilet or sanitation should not come in between someone's education. My team would be sharing the link in the chat box for all these fundraisers or the website. Please visit the website. Be part of Vishwa social change. Be the change maker. Each one of us need to be a change maker in every possible, be it monetary, non-monetary. Even if you're sharing these fundraisers, sharing or reaching out to more and more people, it is going to create a lot of impact. So please share about our initiative. Please share about these fundraisers that need to reach out to a lot of people and someone out there who can help us. If you can help, Is someone out there who can help these young girls, who can help these children, or there are elderlies in old age home waiting for your help, please visit the website, see the fundraisers, and it would be great for you to come join hands, join the community, be part of Vishwa social change. And we for sure very much confident about our vision, and we are going to make change, bring that change in the society. So, ma'am, I think it was a wonderful session. Um, Everybody, it was very much clear and wonderful session. I do not see a question that is being asked here.
Reena, sorry for stopping you. It's not actually a question, but more of an
Yeah.
insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to use the name, but one of the audience said that, most people look up to her and they come for her advice, but she hesitates to advise them. This is a classic example of self-doubt. Okay, so when people are reaching out to you, it is a clear indicator that you are an expert in giving them right kind of suggestions. That's why people reach out to you, number one. Number two, when we have self-doubt in ourselves, we would usually be working on ourselves. We would be so busy working on ourselves that we don't feel like, advising someone, because we feel that they have their own journey. So I don't know if my advice would help them or not. So we would stop ourselves. But trust me, from my own experience, I'm telling you, because I wouldn't advise people in any context. I would just tell them the same thing, that I wouldn't want to advise, I would just listen. But trust me, with your own experience, with your own self-doubt, with your own journey on working on yourself, you would always be able to give the right kind of advices. And if people are reaching out to you, you should don't stop yourself. You should give that little gyan and make them feel happy, and come back to you for more suggestions and advices. All right?
Yes, ma'am. There's so much of appreciation in the chat box for you and for this session, ma'am. They actually, Mr. Kaushik says, excellent session. I was after perfection in doing everything and get in loop of thinking, and now I am self-aware and would try to improve. Thanks a lot. I remember, ma'am, from one of your session, we recently made a short reel out of it. If you want to see, please follow us on Instagram at Vishwa India and on Facebook at Vishwa India. So you mentioned that perfection is in our mind, right? It is in our mind. It is not actually true. And when we are going towards it, we are actually stressing ourselves even more. We are evolving, actually. And that was what you quoted, that we evolve with time, we evolve with practice. It's not that we are perfect at that moment, but we are evolving towards that. So we should not stress ourselves. And that kind of stuck with me and the audience at that time as well. And we quoted that. It's there on our Instagram. You can see the video on YouTube at Vishwa Talks, our YouTube channel. It's a wonderful session. So that's actually what Mr. Kaushik is trying to say. And I could relate because I recently went through that video again of yours. So anything that you want to add?
I'm sorry for stopping you. I think this time there's a question. What if you feel frustrated in the process of self-doubt to self-acceptance? Always remember, the journey from self-doubt to self-acceptance is never going to be a straight line. It's always going to be like, up and down, right? So you will never say that, I am happy, I have no self-doubts, I completely feel accepted, I have no more doubts about myself. Then it is a straight line. Life is never going to be a straight line. I'll give you a quick metaphor here. When we go for our ECG of our heart, the lines go up and down, right? So when the heart line goes straight, what does it mean? We are dead and gone, yeah. So we wouldn't want to have a straight line on our ECG, right? So similarly, the brain also goes like this, the up and down, right? So when the brain understands the language of up and down, when my heart is ready to understand the language of up and down, why am I pulling it from either ends like a rubber band and want to make it straight? I'm breaking it. So chill, let go, relax. There are going to be a lot of frustration phases during your self-doubt to self-acceptance journey, but that is needed. There is frustration, which means you need to balance out the thinker and the doer role. When I am thinking excessively and doing very little, the frustration continues. When I break it with some action, even if it is minute action, like I want to lose weight, I'm only thinking. When I get up in the morning, I just think about wearing my outfit, wearing my shoes, and just stepping out of home. It's action. It will give you confidence. So break your frustration with actions.
Yeah. I have actually one question, ma'am, and it happens to me. And so when we are the thinkers, if we are the thinkers, right? We think so much. We like, yes, we pop ideas pop in our head always now and then, and we know that yes, if we do this, we like everything in our mind from process A to Z just run through our mind. And you know what? Like what we feel that even just by thinking, we feel exhausted. Our mind gets exhausted, and there is no space maybe towards the end of the day. Okay, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it from tomorrow or like that. And there's no space. My body already thinks, or my mind already makes my body think that I've done a lot. So what can we do? At like, if people can relate to me, or if there are others who are in the same situation, how can we become from the thinkers to the doers? Like, how can we break that and get into one action that you suggested?
Excellent question, Prerna. Thank you so much for the question. It helps many people. I think if you're thinking excessively, the first thing that you need to do is you need to get yourself a pen and paper and put your thinking onto paper. Because when we are not doing it, the chain of thoughts kind of continue, and I am thinking from one area to another area to another area to another area, and there is a loop thinking there. So nothing stems out of it. Instead, if I'm actually putting my thoughts on paper, then I know what I am thinking about, and I know what is worrying me, if it in case is worrying me. And I also know the multiple plans or the multiple ways I want to better my performance. I'll give you an example here again. Supposing if I'm thinking excessively about bettering my webinar today, bettering the content, bettering my presentation, what I talk, my speech, I'm continuously thinking, right? Then I don't know if I'm thinking about my speech. Am I really worried about what is going to come out of my mouth? Or am I really worried about the presentation, the slides? Or am I really worried about the examples that I'm going to cite, or how relatable it would be to audience? So I will not know what I am worried about or what is bothering me until I put it on paper. Once I put it on paper, I'll understand that the entire chunk of work is not my concern. Like the presentation as such is not my concern. I want to make it as simple as possible so that I reach out to wider audience. Then comes a plan. From there the plan comes. So if I have to make it reachable to a wider audience, I will have to give examples which are relevant to all age groups. I will have to use very little of my jargon and use very simple terms so that people can actually understand. I will have to make my presentation attractive with pictures, content, so that each one gets what they like, right? So now you're seeing the bullet points, like we're putting them into actions. Then it becomes easy. Does my content have pictures? Does my content have a little bit of reading content, like poems, reels? So did I add all of that? There's a tick mark. Got it? That's an action. So when you think so much and you're lost there, the first step is write it on paper, then see what is worrying you the most. Make your actionable points as small actionable points that you can gulp down. Like I can't take one morsel like this, right? I can't eat so much. So I'll make the morsel which I can take and it is easily palatable for me. So break your actions into small steps and start acting on them.
That's very, very well explained, ma'am. I'm going to start doing that shortly.
All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Just one more question. I think we'll close with this last question. And I am actually very skeptical when I'm asking this, but I still want to clarify that doubt. So it might be that if I'm having this thought in my mind, others might also have. So we truly believe that mind is a very powerhouse for us, right? Whatever it is a possibility that however we feel, if we are feeling positive, our actions would result accordingly, and the end result would be a positive result, right? You say that your mind is, even in spiritually or even in our religious Vedas, it says that mind is very strong. So, and again, the thinker and doer thing come here. So we are thinking, we are very positive. Okay, I'm going to achieve this result, right? We are very positive in our mind. We have all the self-acceptance there. But we have to balance it. It's not just thinking that's going to help at all, right? We have to convert those things into action, and we have to put a lot of efforts. So how are we going to balance that? There will be something that is not going to work out. Still, we need to be positive at the same time, right? How are we balancing that? How are we moving ahead in life? I think I have asked very a question that might need another session, but if you can just give it in brief, that.
Sure. See, actually, the journey between self-doubt and self-acceptance need a lot of sessions. One session isn't enough. But I would quickly answer your question here. See, when we are transitioning from the thinker to doer, what is important for us to understand is what is stopping me, right? Usually what stops us is, like, if someone else is giving us an advice, we listen to them because it's easier. If something goes wrong, what happens instantly? We will say that, you made me do this, you made me choose this career, you picked up this option for me. So we make others responsible and accountable for the decisions that they give us, right? We blame. But when we are doing it for ourselves, it's scary. It actually scares us because we are accountable and responsible for ourselves and our decision. And it is not easy because we'll have to follow it through. We will have to do it for a longer period of time. It requires a lot of consistency and discipline, right? So when you're moving from the journey of self-love to self-doubt to self-acceptance, the biggest skills that you would need is discipline, which means if I have chosen myself to work on something, then I will be responsible for getting up every day and telling myself that, Gayatri, this is what you told yourself. This is what you promised yourself. Now, better get going. Do it. Start. Sometimes I don't feel like doing, sometimes out of 30 days, I might give my plan, live up to my plan for about 15-20 days. But the other 10 days, I just don't feel like doing. Chill, relax, be there with yourself. So you will have to play the role of challenger and comforter for yourself. So I would be challenging myself if I am realizing that I'm way too much in the comfort zone and I'm not breaking it for myself. I would be playing the comforter role if I am playing a very critical person towards myself. If I'm becoming very harsh towards myself, then I would play the comfort role. So when you're altering between both these roles, you will be able to handle the frustration, which is quite natural from a self-doubt to a self-acceptance journey.
Great, ma'am. That was a wonderful explanation. There's one question in the chat box. This is the last question we'll take. After that, we'll wind up. What can we do if during this process we feel exhausted and do not want to talk more with ourselves? What is this? It's a defense. Should we take a break?
This is a clear case of rest is rust. We think that rest is rust. So, I would say you need a break. You need rest. It means that there is too much of talking that is happening in your mind, which is a clear indicator that you're being very harsh or critical on yourself. So you need a break. So you don't have to talk to yourself. You don't have to push yourself towards anything. You need to don on the role of the comforter, like the way I said. Just hug yourself. There is a process of self-hugging. This is beautiful. This is what you have to do yourself, just like the way we hug others. If you want to just hug yourself and be there for you, just close yourself and just hug yourself, and the change comes. And then tell yourself that, I am there for you. If you're not able to do it, remember, if I'm not able to climb the mountain today, which means I need a rest for today. Tomorrow I'll climb the mountain if it is possible, or for today I will just take the hill, right? Again, if I can't lay an entire range of dishes on the dining table, it is not my energy frame today. So I will just serve the simple rice and curd, or dal and one roti, dal and roti. That's it. So what is important is, am I happy and content doing it? And this is important in every moment. Am I happy and content with myself in doing it? I'll only do that much. So it is absolutely fine. Become guilt-free and become your own comforter, and just hug yourself and just stay there with yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. On that note, we will move towards the end of the session. I'll like to mention that next week on Saturday, August 13th, we have a talk again with Roshni Trust, NGO in mental health NGO in Hyderabad, successfully helping others in the last 3 decades. The topic is the psycho-legal landscape of marital conflict. In today's time, we understand, we know, we are aware, we see in our surroundings that there are so many issues that are happening in one's life, partners in the marriage. So there are issues, and it might not always lead to a legal aspect, or it might just be an internal conflict. But how psychologically, or how one should be aware of the legal aspects of this topic, of this marital conflicts. So Ms. R.S. Rushali Reddy, a clinical psychologist and legal advisor, is going to be there on August 13th. The event is at 5 p.m. this time. And please be there. The registration link is in the chat box. You can register, and you can share it with someone who would be interested in this topic, who need to be aware of this topic. I would say, as the speaker says, actually, Ms. Vrishali says, actually, that even the youngsters who are ready to get married should be aware of this. And the ones who are in this situation, or ones who are married, needs to be aware of these aspects. So with that note, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope there was a lot of value that you all took from this session. I took a lot of value from this, our team, and we are so happy to see the smiling faces. We are so happy to see the appreciations in the chat box. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week. Stay tuned, subscribe to Vishwa Talks, and any topic that comes in that interests you, any cause that comes and interests you, please be there. And thank you so much. Ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, I would request you to join the breakout room. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good weekend.